It's just, the fan base is just really gotten out of control. And to see the Star Wars Blu-ray set on Amazon with a rating of 2 stars with, over 600 reviews, the 1-star reviews for this product that isn't even out yet. Yes, there are leaked copies that people have seen, but, you have reduced Star Wars to that.
Yes.
George Lucas did. Don't you dare say that George Lucas reduced it to this, because...
And let's be fair about this as well. For any of these fanboys that say that George Lucas is nothing but a greedy, money-grubbing you-know-what, let's face facts.
You would be doing the exact same thing.
If you somehow tap into a vein that so many people, let's face facts here, J.K. Rowling tapped into it. Hell, even Stephanie Meyer, as much as some people do not like the Twilight series, Stephanie Meyer tapped into a vein, and now she's probably richer than she could have ever dreamed of because of her creation.
Exactly.
So don't even say for a second that if you didn't have that opportunity, you wouldn't go for it yourself.
You would milk it for all it's worth, because it's a business, it's a product.
As much as we always want to say that art is not a business, art and business, especially when you're talking about films, it goes hand in hand, people. I mean, it is just a reality, and you have to realize that reality. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to complain about the most little things.
I know. I mean, like the Blu-rays, I understand that there's going to be some flaws in the picture presentation. Like, you'll still see matte lines around TIE fighters. You'll see some of the lightsaber colors will still be off, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm disappointed by that. I had anticipated a quality akin to Addy Wan's production, but, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's still the same movie.
It's going to be in high def. It's still going to be a great-looking picture.
And even if the lightsaber colors aren't correct, let's be real, people. I mean, let's face it. They're going to look. The lightsaber fights are going to look the same as they did in 1977, in 1980, 1983, 1999, 2002, and 2005.
Exactly.
Just enough, please, for the love of God, fanboys. Support what you love. If you love this franchise so much, you should be looking at George Lucas to say, hey, what kind of changes are you going to make now? If you have the original releases, go ahead and hold on to them, but don't freaking complain to George Lucas, because this is his creation.
Yes, and as I stated before, yes, he should keep re-releasing the theatrical version. I do believe that they should be preserved for historical sake, and that audiences should have a choice on which version to watch.
And again, to say as well, let's also not forget, the 3D versions of these movies are going to be starting to release starting next year. I mean, if you didn't think for a second that Star Wars is still popular, why the hell is it getting a re-release in the theaters, especially what is going to be when Episode 4 comes out, almost 40 years after it was originally released?
Well, if it's nearly 40 years, it's going to be like a 40th anniversary thing, probably.
I mean...
But I don't even think it will be by that point, by that year.
Well, still, I'm just going by estimation. If it's one a year, I estimate 2016.
That's true, yeah. It would need to be 2017 for Episode 4 to be 20th anniversary, but 40th anniversary.
I know what you're talking about.
But it's really,
we're exhausted of trying to defend ourselves to fanboys. That's the bottom line. We're tired. We're embarrassed. We've just had enough. Let us enjoy the movie that has both sparked so much imagination in so many people. Seriously, you think a series like Star Trek could have ever recaptured that audience that it had if Star Wars wasn't nearly as successful? Let's face it, folks. If Star Wars didn't be as successful as it was, Star Trek probably only would have had those 3 seasons on CBS, and probably no movies after that. You wouldn't have had Wrath of Khan, for God's sake.
Exactly, because when they did the motion picture for Star Trek, it was to capitalize on Star Wars.
Hey, do we have to keep defending ourselves? I'm tired of defending myself. All right? I've just had it. All right? I don't care. $80. You know what? There's a lot of worse things that you could do for $80 in this world. I would much gladly throw that money down in support of George Lucas and say, hey, you know what? You make a couple alterations. Yeah, it's not the same film that was released in 1977. You know what? I don't care. This is still the same story.
Yeah.
That's the real thing. The story.
And the fact that people are, canceling their orders and saying, oh, I'm so glad I don't have a Blu-ray, so I don't have to put up with the... First of all, that whole argument, no one is pointing a gun into anybody's head saying, if you own a Blu-ray player, you are required by law to buy this release. No one is pointing a gun to anybody's head.
Absolutely.
And the fact that people are canceling their orders over a lousy 2 seconds of added dialogue, that's just sad.
Is there no hope for Star Wars fans at this point? At this point, I'm just not sure. All I know is that I'm going to get this. He's going to get this. We're going to probably enjoy this. We're going to continue supporting. We're going to continue supporting this franchise wherever it goes because we realize that this is a universe that is so full of imagination and so full of just this great mythos of the Force that we want to explore it more. We want to know as much as we can.
And a lot of people will insist that the mythology of the Force was ruined with midi-chlorians.
Let's be fair here about that.
Let me explain something.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that George conceived the midi-chlorians in his original rough drafts. And
the original rough drafts in the mid-70s.
Yes. And when people started doing novels of Star Wars, George Lucas would let them in about these midi-chlorians to explain about why some people are stronger in the Force than others.
Now the midi-chlorian count, which is what is made such a huge deal about in Episode 1, that is just a way of communication with the Force.
The people look at that explanation and they assume that midi-chlorians are the Force.
No, that's not what it is.
That's not what it is. The Force is an energy field that surrounds us and binds us. That explanation in itself is a science. It's an energy field.
It is a science in some way.
Yeah. The midi-chlorians just allow us to communicate with the Force.
The higher the count, the more easier it is to communicate.
Now people, if you're strong in the Force just because,
what's the point?
Yeah, anybody could use the Force.
Yeah, Han Solo could use the Force, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But would he have been even half the character he was if he was able to use it? Probably not.
Used it.
Yeah. So, that's it. I don't know what else we can say about this. We're embarrassed. We're still going to go out. We're still going to support this franchise. We think that George Lucas has conceived something that honestly should garner so much more respect than what he has gotten the last 20 years or so. Ever since those special editions came out in 1997, the man has been nothing but a punching bag.
And people have, gone out of their way that, George Lucas has gone insane or stuff. You can't just observe someone, a celebrity, and just say they're insane by their behavior. Because you need a PhD to deem that. And, people will say, well, just look at Charlie Sheen. But,
You stole the words right out of my mouth.
But, you still need a PhD.
You still to clinically make them insane.
Exactly.
So,
the thing with Charlie Sheen, I'm not a psychiatrist, so all I can say about Charlie Sheen is that he is most likely on something.
Probably. But yeah, we can't go any deeper than this on this. We've had it with the fanboys. We've absolutely had it.
If you are one of these die-hard fanboys that needs everything their own way, that they think that the movie belongs solely to them,
which it doesn't,
just go sit in the corner, put a dunce cap on, and just mull things things over, think about what we have said.
Let those of us that just like the Star Wars movies, even changes be damned.
I mean,
let's just sit back, relax, and let's just watch a good movie, a good series of movies. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for the world here, people. We just want to sit back, relax, and watch Star Wars. Yeah, it's not the original. You know what? The story is still the original story. That is what matters when it comes to this movie. Nothing else. Visual effects be damned on this. If the story still didn't hold up after over 30 years, then there would be no reason to go back and revisit it so many times. That is our point.
So, I think we've covered everything on our minds. This is EmSeeSquared.
And the Otaku Jock.
Signing out. Peace be with you. May the Force be with you. Good evening, everyone. This is EmSeeSquared.
And this is the Otaku Jock.
We had planned to...
So much for that. Because of the reaction of the so-called fanboys.